I should take off my shoes because my feet are fucking hot.
You should, because you're a bitch in shoes.
God damn!
I kind of am.
Oh, no. You've been nothing but delightful today, just for the record. So, Erin, do you want to hit me with your goddamn this week?
Well, Stace.
Yep. Air.
This week, my family and I were all out in the little garage area. We have a sweet little pool thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's fucking the bee's knees. It's out there. And it is also literally the bees' fucking hangout.
Oh, my God.
Now a watering hole for bees and other such bugs, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the only water in your area.
Exactly. We're in a drought, bitches.
Ugh, it is serious.
And my kid was in it, and he was just standing there, whatever, and then a bee or something flew by his head, and he was like, Mom, there's a bee! And I was like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. And then he
Don't touch it.
He started going, ah! And pointing at his head. And I was like, okay. So I went over there because I'm going to fucking swat it away or whatever. Maybe it landed in his hair or something.
Oh, God, you're so calm about that.
Well, I mean, I'll get it away from him. It's fine. Yeah. Everything's going to be fine. And
Everything's
Brandon
great.
was a little bit closer, but I was at a different angle. And then I saw... Guys.
No. What was it?
This motherfucker was climbing into his ear. It was in his ear.
No!
And I just saw legs coming out.
No!
And it wasn't a bee.
Shake your head, bro.
It wasn't a bee. It was a fucking wasp.
No.
It was a wasp, and it was like, I'm going to make a home. I'm going to impregnate your kid's head.
No.
I'm going to fucking start a nest
Why
in
didn't
there.
he like he just held still and let it happen like a
just
psycho?
Stood there and was like,
no, fucking shake your head, dude.
Pointing at it. I was so shocked that he didn't shake his head or like
that makes me so uncomfortable.
hit it with his ear or like his hand or something.
Yeah.
But it would have fucking stung him,
yeah,
right?
smart on him, but still
thank
just willpower
fucking
alone.
God, Brandon was closer because I was like, it's in his ear. And then,
Just sheer panic.
Yeah.
Freak out, kid.
and Brandon like dove for it and he grabbed it and he was able to grab it out of his ear like before it got all the way in
he's
there.
so brave.
He's so brave because I would have been like, what do I do? Like, shake it away. I don't know. Shake your head. Turn it. We'll put water in it. We'll drown it. I don't know. I don't know what my plan would have been. But thank God Brandon was there. And so he grabbed it and then it stung him and he was like, fuck. And he's like freaking out or whatever.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's a fucking wasp. So it's like, bitch, I didn't like that. I'm going to go into my home, which is in that kid's head. So it's flying around, and I'm, like, grabbing my kid, like, we gotta go!
Protect your ears, dude. He thinks he wants to move in.
Yeah, clap those bitches down. I don't know.
Cover your brains.
Figure your shit out. And my other kid's sitting there, and I'm like, you need to move, too, because
we
you're
are
much
under
slower.
attack.
We're literally under attack. And so then we all, like, ran into the garage, and Brandon's out there trying to find said wasp, because now he's on a fucking mission, because you mess with your family, you went, like,
kill you.
Punisher on it, right?
He's like, I'm gonna kill every motherfucking wasp in this land.
Yeah, so he got his assault rifle, which is just a salt gun that shoots salt, right? Clever play on words, bug fucking killer. This bitch wouldn't land. It knew something was up. But Brandon's out there like,
ammo. I'm gonna get you blasting salt all over the driveway.
Right.
Next time I come over, I'm gonna be slipping and sliding all over that hill.
what is all this salt doing here?
Like goddamn episode of Home Alone.
Right? Yeah, so that was my goddamn.
Jesus Christ, it almost tried to burrow into his head.
It was trying to burrow into his head. I don't know what its plan was. I was trying to go through the other side. I don't know. I was going to lay fucking babies in there. But then my kid, too, was like, oh, it hurt so bad. It stung me. I'm like, I really don't think it did. Because if it had stung you, you would have freaked
screamed.
The fuck out.
Yeah, that shit hurts.
Brandon was like,
ow.
He was not pleased. And he was like squeezing it. He's like, I think there's something in there. And I was like, I think you're just being a little bitch about it.
I think there's just a wasp bite. Remember when we were on a boat and I got bit by a wasp?
Yeah. Yeah, you were so calm about it too.
Yeah. I was, surprisingly, huh?
For, like, the person who freaks out about bees and flowers that you're walking by.
Well, listen, it was like, because it's already done, you know? Like, the anticipation of being stung is the thing that scared me. I accidentally got stung, and then I was like, fuck, ow, that hurt! And I did scream and run from one end of the boat to the other.
I remember you just looking at it, and then I looked at it, and there was, like, a wasp on it, and you were like...
Oh, in my mind, I went, ah, and like ran and jumped back and then sat down and was like, it bit me.
I remember looking at your foot and there was a little red circle on it. And I was like, it did bite you.
It did bite me. It hurt. It stings for a while after.
Yeah, his did too.
Yeah, they're not fun.
Nope.
I don't know why it stings. Venom, maybe, perhaps? Do they have fangs? How does it get in there?
I think we Googled it after you got bit/stung, and we were like, oh, they bite. They don't sting. And then I've Googled it since then, and I do not come up with the same results. So I'm not entirely sure what wasps do, but I'm pretty sure that one was trying to relocate his family to my kid's head.
Oh, 100%. You almost had more kids on accident.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad
I can't take care of a family of 1,000.
No, I'm glad you evicted him.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. You got to pay rent, bro.
Yeah, quickly sent my kid inside, who's then like, why do we gotta go inside? And I'm like, motherfucker, because you almost got invaded.
You were almost an apartment complex.
Yeah.
Your brain.
Your brain was gonna be an apartment complex. You need to fucking chill out and go inside for a minute. Go watch the iPad like a normal kid.
You have been assaulted. Stop trying to go outside.
Yeah.
Fuck bees.
This is
Create
why
a
we don't
complex.
Go outside, guys.
Oh, good God. Well, fuck that. I would have panicked too.
Yeah.
Although
odd Brandon was closer.
there is something about it being your child that suddenly you're like, okay, I have to overcome my fear in this moment. It's like exposure therapy.
It is. Yeah.
And you just fucking do it.
Had Brandon not been there, I would have had to grab it. And like, there's nothing else you can do. But fucking thank God he was there and closer.
Yeah.
You know when you like can't flounder, you know?
No,
like,
no.
oh,
Now's the time.
Yeah.
Strike or he's going to live in his head forever.
Exactly.
Your window was closing in.
It was closing. That thing was going. It was like body first and just legs out like, fuck you guys, I'm going in.
Already threw a suitcase in.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like, you know, when you jump off the back of a boat backwards, he was like, bye, going
like,
into the brain.
He was like scuba diving in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was so fucking gross.
Oh, Jesus, fuck that.
Yeah.
Well,
terrifying.
You want to hear my goddamn?
I do.
So I've really been on this kick of like self-help, self-care, taking care of myself, doing
Hell
what
yeah.
I want, when I want, and all that
Hell
shit,
yeah.
which is really actually very hard, but like I'm trying. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I wanted to do was plant all my seeds. Did I
Hell
talk
yeah.
about this on here?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I went crazy a couple weekends ago and I bought a soaker hose to put in the front yard so that like I can put it on a timer and remember to actually water my plants because I have planted plants in the front yard like at least 3 times, and every time I've spent like, I don't know, $200 in plants and they always fucking die because we live in a desert and there's a drought and it's hot as fuck.
What you need is a giant pool.
Yeah,
It'll
of
get the
bees.
bees.
Exactly. Maybe I should just put that in the front yard.
Yeah, they'll
I'll call it a
pollinate for
pond.
you. Oh, that's our pond.
It's really just an inflatable kiddie pool.
Just get 2 goldfish.
Yeah, exactly. It's a foolproof plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other weekend I went fucking crazy and planted a bunch of shit out there, and it's sprouting, it's doing wonderful, and it makes me so happy inside.
Hell yeah.
But an unexpected twist of events has occurred
Twist.
that makes me so happy.
Oh, a good thing?
Yes, a good thing. So like I said, I put it on a timer. So I run it every morning and every night right now because they're seedlings. They need to get fucking established and they need nutrients and water and whatever. So part of my soaker hose system, it like, because I'm on a little bit of a hill, so like a lot of water at top and then like in the middle, it kind of goes down the hose really fast and then at the bottom, a lot of water. So it's not like evenly distributed or anything like that. Well, I noticed when I first started that when I turned it on and left it on, all of the crows started coming to my yard to drink the water, right? And I was like, oh shit, of course they're going to come here. I feed them all the time.
Yeah.
And now they're stoked for water.
Yeah.
Like, this is super exciting. And now I have 3 crows, guys.
3 crows?
3 crows in my front yard now, and they come regularly. So there's 3 of them. I've seen up to 4. But they're growing. They're telling their little crow friends, like, hey, this bitch got fucking peanuts.
This bitch got amenities.
The best peanuts in town. And so I noticed yesterday that it was a little before the timer went off and all of the crows were in my front yard by where it leaks the most. And they were just like waiting for it to turn on. So they've learned the watering schedule.
What?
Isn't that crazy? They're so
What?
smart. They are so smart. And then they just like walk up with their little beaks and then they like tilt their little head up like, nom, this is the best water ever. So I'm so excited that I accidentally tended to my crows even a little bit more.
Oh my God, how fun is that?
Isn't that awesome?
Okay, so I saw a bird bath out front. Is that a new establishment? Because there's no water in it. Are you going to establish it? What's going on there?
So here's where that bird bath came from. So I bought it a long time ago because I've been feeding the crows for a while. And I was like, oh shit, they need water. So I put water in this thing. And then my front yard's, like I said, kind of on a slope and everything. And so it wasn't really standing flat and I didn't really like it. It was kind of cheap, little bird bath, whatever. So I
Yeah.
put it in the backyard next to the hummingbirds because I'm like, well, they fucking need water too. And that was going great until I got bees, a lot of bees. And then I stopped feeding the hummingbirds. I stopped putting water in it, whatever. And then when I saw the crows drinking the water from the hose again, the first day after I installed it, I was like, fuck, they need their bird bath. So I brought it back out there and I was keeping it full of water. I never saw a single bird in that bird bath. So then I just kind of gave up after a while and I keep seeing them just straight drink from the hose. So I'm like, they don't want that stagnant ass stale water from a bird bath that they could shit in. They want this fucking nice spring
Hose water.
Yeah.
Like birds from the streets, man.
Yeah.
They're like, it doesn't matter what house we're at.
Yeah, exactly. So And then that's just why the bird baths there, just for fun.
I feel it. I love that journey for you.
Thank you. I'm on my way to being the crow mom that I want to be.
I love it so much.
Covered in crows. Anyway, on that lovely note, do you want to hear my case this week?
Hell yeah, I want to hear it. And also,
Yeah?
y'all like how she just slipped that in, that she's just fucking covering my case here?
Oh, yeah! I got Erin's back this week. Oh, what's that? Stacey did a case last week. Psh,
No
Stacey's
big
doing a case
deal.
this week, too, because Erin did her Patreon.
No big deal.
And that's why this podcast is awesome.
Yeah,
because
that's
we
why we're
help each other out.
best friends.
Best friends. I got your back. You got my back.
Bam, 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 bam.
Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so this week I'm going to tell you about Lindy Sue Beekler.
Lindy Sue.
Lindy Sue.
All right.
So Lindy was born on January 31st of 1956.
Okay.
And when she was little, her parents got divorced, and Lindy ended up living with her mother full time.
Okay.
Her father ended up remarrying, and he eventually had another child who was a boy by the name of Mike Little. So that would be Lindy's half-brother.
Okay.
Lindy was described as a free spirit and basically just a well-rounded, dependable gal.
Love it.
So she grows up, whatever, goes to high school and everything. And shortly after high school, Lindy meets a man by the name of Philip Beekler, who would eventually become her husband, obviously.
Makes sense.
Uh-huh.
That's where the last name comes from. I get it.
Exactly. You see what happened there?
I can follow the story
you
so
said,
far.
You see what I said there?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You smelling what
I'm
I'm stepping
smacking
in?
what you're packing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm still smelling what you're stepping in.
Okay, good, good. All right, so now Philip worked at Hertz rental car store, and the two quickly fell in love when they met.
Aw.
In 1975, when Lindy was 19, the two married and moved into an apartment together.
Love it.
They moved into apartment 104A at the Spring Manor Apartments in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So that's where this setting takes place.
Okay.
Now, the whole time that they lived in this apartment, Lindy felt as though she was being watched and stalked.
Oh, don't like that.
Nope. And she brought it up several times to her husbands, her friends, and her family. So it was like a very well-known thing that she was very uncomfortable in the apartment.
That's not good.
Right? Exactly.
It's actually really bad.
That's actually like, you should move.
That's actually like pretty scary.
I hate that.
Yeah, detrimental to your health,
Really? Well,
mental
one time,
and physical.
preach. Well, one time she actually caught someone peeking into her glass door
Fuck that.
when she was home alone, and it spooked her out so bad that it really put her on edge.
I feel like you've been through this.
I have.
You have.
You
Literally.
know what? I'm going to be honest. I've had multiple stalkers in my life.
Yeah, you have.
That's fucking weird. It's because I'm too nice to people.
Yeah, you are.
Don't like that journey
know.
for me.
No,
Okay.
you gotta be more of a bitch.
Yeah, so I feel like I can kind of relate to how Lindy feels right now.
Terrified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody's peeking through her sliding glass door and she's like, don't like this at all. And it put her on edge. So after this, she really did not like being at home alone, and especially at night, because everything's scarier at night, right?
Of course. Yeah. Did her husband work nights or anything?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Because of their work schedule, she worked at a flower shop. He worked at the Hertz rental car, and their work schedules kind of overlapped. So she would get off earlier in the day and he would get off later. So there was always a couple of hours where she was at home alone at night.
Don't like that.
Yeah. But her friends and family knew about it. So they would often call and,
Check
chat.
up on her.
Exactly. And one time, Lindy and Phil were at someone else's house. I actually think it was her half brother's house or family house or something. And they were having dinner when all of a sudden they heard a crash upstairs. And it turned out to be like some mirror had fallen over or something like that. But it spooked her so much that she made Philip search the entire house to make sure nobody was there. So she's like borderline paranoid at this point.
Yeah, like somebody's following her type of deal.
Yeah, but also you're going to find that it's a pretty valid feeling that she's feeling.
Yeah.
So just another point of her being fucking freaked out.
Yeah, but also like trust your gut, ladies
Exactly.
and gentlemen.
Exactly. So now it's December 5th, 1975, and Lindy gets off of work and decides to swing by Philip's work to say hi.
Okay.
After that, she stops at a grocery store to grab some food for the house, and she gets to her apartment, and it's like 7:15 p.m., and she starts unloading her car.
Okay.
Now, the amount of food that she brought in, it would have at least taken her 2 trips to and from her car to her apartment to unload. So, like I said, Lindy knew that she was going to be home alone that night because Philip had to work late. But she had talked to her family, and her aunt and uncle knew how uncomfortable she was being home alone, and they were going to a basketball game or something like that night, so they had invited her along.
Oh, fun.
So they were going to come pick her up at around 8 or something like that, 8:45. They were going to swing by and come get her. So she was just going to unload, probably have some dinner, and then get ready to rock and roll.
My old ass self is like 8:45.
That's bedtime.
Girl, do you work tomorrow?
Right? Like,
No.
what kind of day? Is it a Friday?
Yeah, what are we talking here? Because this is like a Wednesday night basketball game. I'm out. Count me out.
I gotta go to bed.
Yeah. I would rather do literally anything else.
I want to stay home and get high.
Yeah.
Well, so her aunt shows up to come get her to the game.
Yeah.
She goes up to the apartment and knocks on the door, and when Lindy doesn't answer, she tries the knob.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and then the door was unlocked.
Uh-oh.
And this immediately shocked her because she was like, nope, I know Lindy would not leave this door unlocked. Like, she is fucking freaked out to be here. So she pushes the door open and she calls to Lindy but doesn't hear anything. She doesn't get a response.
Mm-hmm.
And so she walks into the living room and immediately notices that a lamp had been knocked over onto the ground.
There's been a struggle.
There has been a struggle, so she's concerned. And so she walks into the kitchen, and that is where she finds Lindy laying on the ground, face up, fully clothed, covered in blood.
Oh, no.
With a huge kitchen knife sticking out of her neck.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is right?
Why?
So Lindy was unresponsive, obviously, and her aunt called 911 immediately. And when the first responders got there, it was clear that it was already too late for Lindy, and she was, she had passed away.
Yeah.
So they're obviously dealing with a murder at this point.
Oh, my God.
I know. What a brutal way to go. And there was like blood splatters on the wall. Like, obviously, there had been a struggle in the living room.
Yeah.
But it looks like it had mainly taken place like right there in the front of the apartment.
Oh, my God. But why? Like, why?
Why?
If you're stalking someone, I would assume you
know them or something. Like, what?
Or like want to get to know them, or like, well, you don't want to just fucking kill them.
No, there's a reason.
Yeah.
So police open an investigation and they start to process the crime scene, and they find that nothing had been taken or stolen. So this wasn't like a botched robbery.
Yeah.
And so they have to then focus on performing an autopsy to find out like what exactly happened. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that they're like, clue number one, there's a giant knife in her neck. So
I think exhibit A here is the knife.
Yeah, exactly.
In her neck.
Not
detrimental to life.
Not a good combo.
No.
So they perform an autopsy and they find that she had been stabbed 19 times and she died due to extreme blood loss.
Oh. Was it her knife? It doesn't matter, but I'm curious.
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Okay, go on.
They discover that her wounds were made by two different knives. One from the knife that was found in her neck, obviously, and that is the knife that was hers. It came from her very own butcher block.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. But he also brought a knife? I'm assuming it's a he.
Yeah, also brought a knife, and that knife has never been found or identified, even to this day.
Motherfucker was like, can't lose this knife.
Nope, this one's mine.
To this day?
To this day.
Know who it was? Is this an unsolved
Oh,
motherfucker?
you just hold on to your seats, girl.
I can't stop interrupting.
So I'm speculating that maybe she saw her attacker and he had a knife or something and she grabbed her own knife and then somehow like they wrestled around and he got it from her and then stabbed her with her own knife. That's just pure speculation. But it's estimated that the first stab to Lindy was actually the fatal one, straight to the heart.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. And that the killer continued to stab her after that. So they're thinking like this is a heated crime because she died right away or was not, fighting back right away.
Yeah, like she's literally
defenseless.
Dying. Yeah.
Investigators were able to recover DNA from the killer in two places, though, so we've got some clues, okay? One was semen that was found in Lindy's underwear.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the second...
Did he redress her?
Okay, hang on. I'll tell you that in a second, okay? So the second piece of DNA was some blood that was found. I think some of it was splattered on the wall and some of it was on her pantyhose, suggesting that maybe she had wounded the killer while she was fighting back, because she also had defensive wounds all over her arms. So like she had struggled and fought back and actually was able to wound the killer, and he bled on her, and so we have some sort of evidence there.
I've also heard that in stabbings, a lot of the time the person doing the stabbing will get all covered in blood and their hand slips onto the knife and then they cut themselves that way.
That could be, yeah. Could be. But I was thinking, of course I'm speculating, I was thinking like a struggle because there was two knives involved, like.
And she was like, oh, what's that? You have a knife? I have a knife.
Slice, slice, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that. I'd like to think that she fucking.
Yeah, she was like, not today.
Yeah. Fuck you too,
We're
bitch.
looking
Call
for somebody
the cops.
with a knife wound.
Yeah. I have a question for you, sir. How'd you get that wound on your body?
Yeah.
From this knife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, super side note, when they're like, clearly a struggle took place. I love the idea that if someone walked into my house, they'd be like, clearly a struggle took place. I'm like, this is just how I live.
No, that's just my house. Like, if it's ever perfect, then you know somebody cleaned up the
Be
crime
concerned.
scene. Yeah, that's when you should be concerned that something happened.
If the kitchen table is knocked over, though, like, that's just a Tuesday.
Yeah, that's just me being lazy and I didn't want to pick it up for the 5th time today.
Yeah.
We live with the table like that until we need it, and then we just set it back up.
Put the table up.
Yeah, duh, who doesn't?
That lamp is knocked over. Don't worry, it's not plugged in. I unplugged it the 4th time it got knocked over.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even want that lamp, but I don't know what else to do with it, so it just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we live the same life. I'm aware. Also, I'm speculating, and I think the police were too, but of course the police were not very public about this piece of information, but I'm speculating that it was sexually motivated, like the motive was sexual in
Nature?
Thank you. I was like, in relation, in marriage, what the fuck is that word? In nature. Because there was semen found in her underwear.
Yeah, that part concerns me a little bit in the idea that he would have to redress her.
Yeah, here's
if it was the killer's semen.
Isn't that weird?
Like,
no, it's
dabbling on the side.
It's super weird because she wasn't totally naked or anything, and they speculate that it was done post-mortem.
I hate that.
So then he would have had to have redressed her.
Well, and also
because it was on her underwear.
Been a necrophilia.
Yeah, but that's so weird.
Very weird.
So weird. But the semen DNA and the blood DNA matched, so we're looking for the same person. One person.
Oh, I hate that. Okay.
The police also find a bloody footprint in the kitchen that matched the pattern of like a male shoe print and was like the size of a male shoe print, so they're assuming it's a male suspect.
Okay.
Now, the police questioned the neighbors, and surprisingly, I think anyway, surprising, no one was home at like almost 8 o'clock at night.
Well, if it was like a Friday or something, they're going to a basketball game, whatever, maybe it's like, oh, the night out on the town in Pennsylvania.
Maybe.
It's just what we do.
I was like, that's super weird.
Nobody's home on Friday nights.
Yeah, or they're all suspicious.
Yeah.
Where the fuck were you?
Or it's an apartment and everybody heard everything.
Yeah, who knows? Well, because no one was home, nobody could give any further details or anything to help the investigation.
Was anyone else there? Like, yeah, but also check out fucking Frank. He's pretty creepy.
No one said anything. They were just like, I don't know.
Crazy.
No idea what happened. Yeah, that's crazy. Not in my apartment.
Wow.
So it turns out that there was a car that night that was double parked at the apartment between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m., which is speculated to be the time frame that she was attacked because she got home at like 7:15.
Yeah.
The car was a dark, standard-sized car and was sitting there with its lights on. That's all we really know.
Okay. For an hour-ish?
For an hour-ish. And so police were suspicious that maybe the killer is linked to the car somehow, like maybe a getaway car, or maybe they were at the very least a witness and could give them some sort of information as to what they saw that night if they were sitting in the car.
Yeah.
But there were no further details on that. Like the police,
just like, I
don't know. There was a car there. That's weird.
Standard size.
Early on, police questioned all of Lindy's family and friends, and even Philip, because as we know, usually it's somebody close to you who would be so fucking ragey that they'd stab you 18 times.
Yeah.
But they all pretty much had solid alibis and were soon ruled out as suspects.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. Within 3 months after Lindy's murder, another woman was stabbed to death only 15 miles away from where Lindy was killed. So the police immediately were like, okay, we've got like a serial killer on the loose here.
Yeah. Seen this before.
But the killer in that instance was actually caught and the DNA did not match. So it was not the same killer. So what are the fucking odds, right?
Just a fucking shitty neighborhood.
I guess. Shit.
That sucks.
I know. So nothing much happens for like a whole year. And then on the anniversary of Lindy's death, her family go to visit her grave to pay their respects. And when they get there, they see that her gravestone had been vandalized. It had been painted red, and then it looked as though somebody had stabbed the gravestone or something because there were all these chip marks in the paint and slash marks on the paint.
What the fuck?
And what's even weirder is like it wasn't done to any other gravestone. So this was a targeted attack.
Yeah.
At her.
Yeah.
Fucking rude.
Well, super rude, first of all. But also,
Weird.
if it's not the person who stabbed this woman,
Yeah.
like, then does that mean that...
It's just like an awful neighborhood of people who are assholes?
Well, yeah. And like, to be like, oh, this person was stabbed, so let me go to their grave on the anniversary. Like, that's an ambitious fucking vandal if it's just a vandal, you know?
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And also, if it's the killer, like, Jesus.
If it's the killer, like, you got some unresolved issues, maybe seek therapy.
For sure. And like, you're just gonna get yourself caught.
Well, that too.
Dum-dum.
Is he going to get himself
Well, I'm
caught?
going to tell you.
Or she?
I'm going to tell you. So, police investigate, but they're unable to find who vandalized the gravestone, and that kind of goes silent for a while. Then, a few weeks later, police get a letter in the mail that's marked urgent, and it's actually addressed to the sheriff, who I don't recall the first name, but the last name was Sheila.
Okay.
So you're going to hear me say Sheila, and that's who I'm referring to.
Okay.
Is
Is
the sheriff.
Sheila a lady or is that a man's last name?
You know, I just totally assumed it was a male because we live in a male-dominated society, and this is back in, like, the 70s, so there's
I assumed
no
it
way.
was as well, but if you continue to refer to them as Sheila, just know that I'm picturing, like, you know,
My mom.
someone's mom. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at first, for some reason in my mind, I was thinking this is from like Australia or something. So they're like, "Hey, girl," or something, you know, like
There's a nice Sheila over
yeah,
there.
yeah, exactly. And then I was like, "Wait a minute, this is the last name of like a sheriff or some shit."
Sheriff.
Sheriff. Okay, so it's marked urgent to the sheriff, and it was a two-page handwritten letter.
Two-part.
Two-part.
They were like, here's part one. Open
then
second
here's
letter
part
when
two.
you're done with that. This
And
is
here's
part
part
two.
two.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, check this shit out. Okay.
Was it two separate letters? Was it two-parter?
It was mailed together as one. I don't know if one person wrote on one page and then another person wrote on the other page or whatever, but here, let me tell you.
Oh, persons?
Person.
Okay, go on.
So,
stop interrupting.
one part was written by somebody who claimed to be Lindy's killer. And
Okay.
the other part was written in cursive, claiming to be a gal by the name of Janice Crum, who knew the killer and was validating the killer's claims in this letter.
Listen, Janice, maybe just stay out of it.
Yeah, Janice.
Janice, because I feel like
Crumbs.
you're just implicating yourself if you're not being like, yo, it's fucking this guy. You know?
Yeah. Like, you should call it out. Well, okay, let me read
like
you the
I
letter.
can vouch for him. He definitely murdered that person.
Yeah, I swear. So here's what the letter said. It's a little bit of a read, so bear with me.
Dramatic reading. By
Okay.
Stacey. Here we are.
Hi, Sheila.
Hello.
Just eats up your heart knowing you haven't caught me yet. Still around. Lindy's marker on her grave just turned me on just like she did.
Ew.
And the way she looked all bloody, like the paint on her marker, the scratch and nick marks represent the knife stabs. Count them. You wondered if the guy at the gas station in Mountville was related to Beekler's murder. Forget it, man. No way. I'll tell you what, Chief Pig. You print this letter in the paper along with a picture in Friday night's Lancaster paper and Saturday morning's paper, and I might confess.
You're asking for a lot of fucking real estate in the newspaper. here.
Right? Right? Like, what? No. But he says basically, you know, like fucking publish my shit in the paper.
What
And
does he
I
think he is? Like the fucking Zodiac killer or whatever?
Oh, it's interesting you say that. There is a thing where like they suspect it might be the Zodiac.
Oh,
So-
really?
And it says, I might confess when I get off my trip. You see, the world owes me a living. Maybe I give you a few hints who I am. Got busted once for drugs a few years back. Live in West End, Lancaster suburbs. I'm 5'10" tall and 205 pounds fat and beautiful and capable of killing again without knowing it.
Without knowing it.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Oopsie.
I woke up and that guy was dead.
No, not again. December 5th, 1975 was under the stupor of amphetamines like right now. Well-educated man in the community, single, good job, but God, please, Chief.
Hey, Chief Sheila.
Jesus Christ. But God, please, Chief, help me. I'm losing my mind. Help me before I kill again.
So he's on a meth binge.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it sounds like anyway.
Well, he's saying he's on a fucking
Trip right
amphetamine,
now.
whatever,
Yeah.
just like now.
Yeah. And maybe I'll confess when I get off my trip. Yeah. The headaches kill me every time it aches. The drugs only calm it temporarily. Will God forgive me? Please print this, Chief, in the paper so I know you got it. Then I will write you again. God, I need a priest. What have I done? Help me, please. And then there's a PS. This is the second part. You want to say anything first?
I got a lot of things running through my head, but I'll wait.
First of all, fucking hate it.
See what gets answered here.
Okay, it says, P.S. Chief Sheila, my friend has confessed to the killing of Lindy Sue Beekler. As God is my witness, do as he asks. Print this letter on the front page. I'm not aware of his intentions right now, but contemplating murder is not his intentions. Sounds like you're on meth because you just said the same word twice in one sentence.
Can't rhyme Kodak with Kodak.
Really, honestly. He is mentally sick. When the letter appears, then he will turn himself in. We fucking got it, girl. Janice,
Yeah,
we read the first part.
We read the first part.
Yeah.
Also, Janice, you're just saying your name. You realize you're just going to get arrested now until
Yeah.
they're like, yo, tell us who fucking did it.
Right? He described the relationship he and Lindy had before he killed her.
Was it none? Was there none?
Well, then he doesn't describe it. Then Janice doesn't describe it. He only realizes it now when you are on drugs that you are not responsible for your actions. This just sounds like drug-related ramblings.
Yeah.
Please, he's asleep now. That's why I finished the letter. All I can tell you...
And then mailed it for
and
him?
then put a stamp on it.
Yeah,
Let me
or
just
was
finish
he
your
like,
chores.
Not gonna reread this. We're just gonna fucking wrap it up.
She's like, haha, got him. All I can tell you is my friend frequents the Manor Shopping Center, which is the same place that Lindy got her groceries from, in the evenings and the fields around it, mostly weeknights.
The fields around it?
Yeah, like
Cruising the fields?
I frequent those fields.
Does he work them, or is it like...
Just standing in a field staring.
You know how like people walk with their hands behind their back for good posture?
Yeah.
Just walking around the fields.
Like, boop-a-doop. Boop. What's that? Oh, no.
What kind of fields are they? Flower fields? Strawberry fields forever?
Strawberry fields forever. I don't know. They're just some fucking fields around a shopping center, evidently.
Okay.
And he mostly frequents them on weeknights.
Good to know.
He will contact you very soon. And when he does, please bring a Catholic priest to the police station. Then the letter was signed, Janice Crum.
You're going to put your first and your last fucking name on
Every bit of detail. But then the killer himself is just like, bam, terrible.
Try and guess who I am. I'm on a meth binge right now with some friends. Janice. Janice Crum, that is.
Who goes on a meth bin with a gal named Janice, you know?
Janice sounds like a good time. I'm going to be completely honest.
She does, but I feel like Janice is like more of like a drinker, you know? Like
Janice
she's not
is
doing
kind of a
meth.
drinker. Well, I could see Janice doing
Maybe
both.
she does like a bump or two or something, but you know, like I can't
She's not in the lifestyle, but she dabbles in the lifestyle.
Yeah. So maybe she's like, God damn it, not again. All right.
And she's like, he needs help. But like, you both do.
Yeah, Janice, do you need help? So the police choose not to publish the letter, and they analyze the handwriting, and they determine that both parts of the letter were written by the same person. Big shocker.
Uh-oh. Is this a little fucking mental break?
Perhaps.
Little multiple
dual
personality?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it's called anymore.
I don't know either, but
Sorry about that if
Janice
that's offensive.
isn't. I don't know.
Perfectly describes what I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. There are two of you in one. So they choose not to publish it. They're like, hey, we think this was written by the same person because they analyzed the handwriting and it was basically the same. They did find a woman by the name of Janice Crum in the area, but it turns out that she had like zero connection to the killer or anything. She was like, I have no fucking idea.
I've never been on a meth binge in my life.
Yeah, she's like, I just love Jesus.
Oh, no. Bring a Catholic priest.
Oh, yeah, really. At first, there was speculation around whether or not this was the act of the Zodiac killer. Because of the cryptic wording, the misspellings, there was like random capitalization throughout it, and calling the police pigs, and the taunting of the police.
This is the 70s.
Yeah, it's So I think the last Zodiac thing was like 74 or something like that, and this is in 75.
Yeah.
So it was right around that hype.
But I
But
feel like everybody called police pigs in the 70s.
for sure.
Like, wasn't that a Manson thing?
Yeah, it
too?
was. Yeah. But I think it was so close that the Pennsylvania police were like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and have it checked out by California police anyway, just in case. So they were like, hey, does this sound like the Zodiac? But eventually there's no ties to the Zodiac.
All right.
So a forensic FBI agent analyzed the letter and Lindy's case, and he believes that the killer was someone with an explosive temper because
Obviously.
homeboy stabbed her 19 times. And after realizing that they had killed someone, they would have taken a nosedive in their life, or they would have become heavily devoted to their job, religion, or family. So like hyper focus on something to forget that you did that, or go on a fucking bender and do drugs all the time.
Okay. This seems like you got a pretty easy job. Could be anywhere. Professional opinion?
I'm an FBI forensic analyst.
Could be doing anything. Could be literally anywhere. Thanks.
Could be anybody here at this moment in time.
You could be doing literally anything.
Yeah, don't know. Pretty tricky.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one to figure out.
He's either better
Sheila.
now or he's not. So, you know, get on it.
This whole case is like that, where
I
they're
wish
like,
I lived in the 70s, man.
honestly.
Sounds so easy.
I know. All the police officers are like, I don't know. Nobody was home, so no one could tell me what happened.
And they're like, listen,
He's gone.
so
So who knows?
my job is real hard.
It's
I'm
this-
going to clock out.
You should pay me more. So he also believes that the letter was sent to the police to throw them off their trail or to skew the investigation, and believes that the killer is either female, which is interesting,
Ooh.
or someone who is struggling with their sexual identity, since the writer said that they are 205 pounds fat and beautiful. And they said that especially in the 70s, it was very unlikely that a hetero male, would have described their body as beautiful.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Also, 210 pounds at 5'10" is not fat.
No. I mean, not by our standards anymore.
No.
Maybe at the time, though.
Maybe in the 70s it was. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So police, they believe that it's a male suspect because they have a male bloody footprint.
Yeah.
And there's jizz. So, they're like,
well,
I'm for sure this is a dude.
Exhibit A tells me.
But they're also not sure if the letter is valid or real or not.
Yeah.
So the FBI
it could just
agent,
be a crazy person.
Yeah, the FBI agent's looking at the letter and analyzing the letter along with the case too, but saying the letter either came from a female or somebody struggling with their sexual identity. And they have the letter, they have the gravestone marker, and then they have the murder. And so police believe that at least 2 of them are tied. Like it would be really unlikely that all 3 of those events happened randomly. Like you just happen to have somebody taunting the police. Mm-hmm. But 2 of those events have to be tied. Like the same person.
The gravestone and the letter are the same person.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's the murderer is up in the air.
Yeah.
I get it.
Or the murder and the letter are the same person, but the gravestone was somebody else.
That'd be real coincidental.
It would. Well, the whole thing would be. So they're saying we're not 100% sure if all 3 are tied to the same person, but at least 2 are. That's wildly statistically confusing. Yeah. So this letter wasn't released to the public until 25 years after Lindy's murder in 2000.
God damn.
I know. And the original letter was actually lost in evidence. So all we have are photocopies. So you can't really do any further analysis on anything that the letter came in, like the envelope.
Fingerprints.
Nothing. You can't do any of that. It's just a photo Xerox
Cool, guys.
copy. Great job. Great job.
Nice try. Spot on police work here.
Fucking 70s.
Again, my life is hard or my job is hard. I'm going to fucking clock out.
Hey, do we need this? No, Cindy, shred it.
No, we got a photocopy.
Yeah, we don't need the real one.
Fuck the original.
God, so dumb. So several murderers were suspected in Lindy's murder, but each one would eventually get ruled out. And Lindy's case was like a roller coaster ride of thinking they had a lead, and then they would be like, hell yeah, and then it would quickly get squashed with DNA evidence or whatever.
Oh.
Police even hired psychics to try to help them find the murderer. And the psychics got the impression that her murderer had a tattoo on the arm, which I thought was interesting, olive skin, dark hair, and dark eyes. And so police were like, hey, that sounds like somebody that we fucking know. And they looked into it and it wasn't that person.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. So in the year 2000, investigators decide to take a second look at her case because, like I said, it had been 25 years later.
Yeah.
And they get a group of people who specialize in cold cases. And they're like, here's all of our fucking evidence. And I'm assuming that's when the letter actually got published.
Yeah.
Because they are like, here, somebody help us solve this shit.
Anybody know anyone who might go by Janice Crumb that's not actually Janice Crumb?
Yeah, that would kill someone maybe.
Maybe.
And who writes like this. So this group of people, they get the evidence on the case, and the only evidence that they really have to go off of is the DNA, right? The semen DNA and the blood DNA. So they worked with a company called Parabon Nanolabs, and they run the DNA evidence through a database, and they were actually able to locate the perpetrator's ancestors.
Ooh, how close? How close we talking?
We're talking, they were linked to some really small-ass town in Italy, and then they followed the family tree to where the family eventually ends up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and so they take that relative and they look up all of their relatives, like that person's DNA, and they look up all the other relatives and they get a list of people who live in Lancaster. And one of the names on the list was a man by the name of David Sinopoli.
David Sinopoli.
Sinopoli. Now, David stood out because it just so happens that in 1975, he lived in the same motherfucking apartment as Lindy. He was the goddamn neighbor.
Of course he's a goddamn neighbor. I wasn't home.
I have no idea.
And they're just like,
thanks, taking a shower.
Thanks, David, for your time.
You're not suspicious at all.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
So police were like, dude, we need David's DNA for sure. Because that's pretty close to home.
Yeah, why don't you just have a seat over here?
Yeah, so spit in this cup.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we have an idea. We're just going to follow David. So they do. Investigators follow him, and they actually follow him to some airport where he's traveling with his wife somewhere, and he has a cup of coffee. He throws the coffee cup in the trash. And investigators are like, and run over and grab it and put it in a bag.
Snagged it.
Got it.
Got him.
Mine.
Got him.
Got him. And so they tested the DNA, and it was a motherfucking exact match.
When did he get married?
So I'm going to tell you all about this.
Okay.
David would have been 19 at the time of Lindy's murder.
Jesus.
And he was never suspected on the police's radar. So he was the same age as Lindy when he murdered her.
Oh, she
Allegedly.
was 19 too? I thought she was in her 20s.
I think she was 19. She had gotten married at 19, and then they moved into that apartment. So I'm assuming
so
she was still
somewhere
19.
around there anyway.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, July of 2022, police arrest 68-year-old David Sinapoli in connection with the 1975 murder of Lindy Beekler.
Uh-huh.
David had been living in Lancaster County for over 40 years, and he worked as a press operator the last 17 years at a local family-owned print shop.
I worked with him.
You probably did. He looks like every motherfucker that we worked with at a print shop.
Dude, they're all kind of shady.
Yeah. And they all have the same look.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone he worked with was totally fucking shocked to hear that David was being implicated for murder.
But it was like 40 years before.
It was like when he was 19, probably binged out on meth or whatever.
Like you're a different person, but at the same time.
Like, what are you capable of, dude?
Yeah.
So his boss was so shocked and told reporters that he would have never suspected David. His coworkers said that he did his job really well and he was quiet, sometimes funny man. And he's just not somebody you would have suspected at all.
Uh-huh.
His Facebook page depicts him as an avid hunter, often vacationing in Italy. He married his first wife a year before he allegedly murdered Lindy. So he would have been living in the apartment, I'm assuming, with his wife, like neighbors to Lindy.
What the fuck, man?
I know, and like killed her and then comes home. I wonder if his ex-wife is like, yeah, I remember him getting a cut on his arm or something like that.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. In 2004, he had actually been sentenced to a year of probation for pleading guilty to invasion of privacy and disorderly conduct because this guy, David, had admitted to spying on women who were naked in a tanning salon that his wife owned.
Okay, so he's still a creep.
He's a creep. Yeah. Exactly. He was just arrested in July of 2022, so this motherfucking month. So
Holy shit.
We don't have any further details on how the two were connected or like what his motive was other than I'm assuming sexually motivated because he did end up raping her, allegedly.
Probably after her death.
Exactly. And I'm assuming that he was spying, like he's a known peeping Tom. So I'm assuming that's who she saw peeking in through her sliding door. And maybe he just kept peeping on her and it eventually escalated, or she busted him peeping on her.
It was like, the fuck are you doing? And then he was like,
escalated.
well, now's my time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, how terrifying is that?
Exactly. Isn't that scary? So that's all I have right now. And I'll update you guys if anything else, obviously as the trial goes on, if shit comes out of it. But like, what the fuck?
How could you imagine being married to that person?
And having no idea?
Yeah. Like, does he have kids?
He did have kids. And I think he had kids with both because he got remarried later. So I think he had kids by both. But I don't really know. Like, I want to know what kind of guy he was because the only people who have spoken to reporters.
He's a press operator.
I know.
That's what kind of guy he is.
I know.
Stereotyping a lot here, but I've worked with a lot of them. And I feel like every press operator is like, they're the nicest person in the world until they're not. And then you're like...
Explosive
I would
personality.
believe that you could kill someone.
Explosive. Every press operator is like cool and chill until one little thing goes wrong. And then they're fucking cussing and kicking the machine.
And all of a sudden they're throwing shit at the wall. And you're like, all right,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
We're chill, right? We still good?
I thought you were just printing some business cards,
Yeah.
dude. Like, why you tripping?
Are we cool?
Yeah.
It wasn't my fault, was it?
Yeah. And they all also, like, generally look like they have done meth at some time.
Absolutely. They're a little worn.
Bare minimum are alcoholics.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, if you're
All
a
of them.
press operator, you know.
If you're a press operator, tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Tell
Prove
me
me
I'm
wrong.
wrong. Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. Also, nothing but respect. You guys have a real great job and you do fucking great work.
Oh, I loved it. I
But
love that
also-
job. I could be myself.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like fucking cuss and they're like, hell yeah. And then they say like baby girl and you're like, ugh.
Don't do that, though.
Ugh, yeah, don't
It's
call
how
me
I got
that.
the personality that I am. It's
Yeah,
'cause
honestly.
I worked at too many press operators.
Yeah. Anyway, so on that note, if you want to check out pictures pertaining to my case, go to isgpodcast.com. And while you're there, you should join our Patreon. For as little as $1, you get one extra episode every single month.
Hell yeah.
Also, you can come join us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Whoop! Our handle is at ISGD Podcast. You should come join us on Facebook group called the Goddamn Pod Group.
Yep.
Yeah, the Goddamn Pod Group. No requirements to join, and it's just a lot of fun. So come join us.
Hell yeah.
And if you want to email us, you can do so at isgdpodcast@gmail.com. Or if you snail mail us, do that at
P.O. Box 2764, Spring Valley, California, 91979.
Also, you should subscribe, rate, and review. You guys, we want to blow this shit up so we can live off of this podcast, okay? So go tell everybody. Go tell all your friends. Tell your friends. Yeah, like go get that shit out so we can do this for real 100% of the time.
Yep.
And we can be on billboards and in your kids' cereal boxes.
Oh, I've always wanted to be on Wheaties.
Well, we're going to have to get more athletic.
Never mind.
Fuck that dream. Your dream is stupid.
Your dream is trash.
Okay, we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.